Welcome to Guide to Spirituality's podcast with me, Stacey Bauer. It's a down-to-earth space where we talk all things spiritual. Each episode, I'm joined by guests from all walks of life to share real experiences, practical tools, and honest conversations about healing, growth, and the unseen spiritual world. Whether you're just starting out or you're deep on your journey, this podcast is here to support your path with insight, connection, and that little bit of magic. Today we're collaborating with the amazing Cheryl Siree, where we dive into healing, addiction, and how to overcome trauma. Good morning, Cheryl, and welcome to Guide to Spirituality's podcast. How are you this morning?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Now, Cheryl, when I have spoken with you in the past, and I've known you for quite a few years now, your journey has always seemed quite a long one to me. And when I say long, I feel like over parts of it you've been a little bit tormented. And I genuinely believe as well that you plan to do it like that this time. I believe that. And I feel like you've done it very well, actually. I feel that there's been quite a lot of healing on your path. And when I've spoken to you at different parts, the healing has been quite intense. I know you've had like hives and all sorts of things through healing patterns. So will you tell us how it started from young Cheryl and how we got to where we are now, please?
Okay, so growing up was quite difficult. My mum was an undiagnosed manic psychotic who developed a problem with alcohol. And my nan and granddad, they were in the army, and there were just me and my brother, and that's the small family that we had.
Yeah.
So it was quite turbulent, and so I learned very quickly to be a people pleaser in the sense of nan and granddad, everything was very regimental. They loved me with all their heart. I'm not saying anything wrong, but there was conditions to receiving their love, in the sense that if I didn't behave in a certain way, then I wouldn't be accepted in their home, because, and then when I was with my mum, her conditions were very up and down. They changed from one day to the next, and depending on, what were going on that day, what had happened at work with her, because she was a functioning alcoholic. I don't know how she did it, but she did it.
Yeah.
And her conditions changed daily, and so me and my brother really didn't have a clue where we were at from one day to the next. So people pleasing were a massive, massive thing for me, and my brother as well. And then later in life, my granddad got throat cancer, and my mum got cancer, and my nan's always been quite poorly for years. So then my journey of caring started for all three of them. As my granddad got terminal, my mum got cancer, and then when my granddad died, my mum got a terminal, and I was caring for two children at this point as well. And again, it was just constantly people pleasing. But in those years where I was caring, I kind of lost who I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. And that came to light when they all passed away. I could finally be me. But I had no clue who me was.
Didn't know who she was.
No, I was
there, isn't there?
Yeah. And I thought that because when they all passed away, I did mess up, and I ended up on crack cocaine, which I take full responsibility for. But I'm really glad that happened. I've never been so happy of something happening that was so what you'd think was so negative, because that was the start of my journey. And I had to reach the lowest steps. And when I say we're hanging around with the lowest of the low, I mean never hanging around with the lowest of the low, because I didn't want to do it in front of my children in the house. So I'd just, I'd just go somewhere else. But then I cried out for help for the drugs from a local place, and they basically told me that they didn't know what category to put me in. Now, I do know from the users that I was sat with that a lot of people used heroin to come down. However, I couldn't stand the smell of it. I just didn't like it, so I never did. And for that reason, they said they didn't know what category they put me in. I now know that it's because they couldn't medicate me.
Okay.
They can't medicate for crack cocaine, so like, right, okay. Things got really bad, and one night I saw this guy who I knew from ages ago, and he had a beautiful car. He had a Cupra, and I was like, oh, can I have a go? Please let me have a go at that car. So, and I'm trying to pretend to this guy that I'm not on anything. So it was like, well, I wouldn't advise it, and I was pleased, but it was gorgeous, Stacey. I was just,
What colour was it, Cheryl?
it was white.
White.
White, it was lovely. Anyway, cut a long story short, I'm driving this here car, I'm driving down the road, and because round by me it's quite bad. So I were on this road, and they put the sirens on, and well, the lights, not the sirens.
Yeah.
And I thought, because it was a known area, I thought he was just going to overtake and go. I thought they'd turn the lights off so that the people who were going to catch couldn't hear him.
Right.
Anyway, so I've just moved over slightly, just moved over a little bit. And then he put his sirens on, and I realised they were chasing me. But
You were chased, did you?
But we must. And I was like, oh no. And I flapped so much in my life. Like, literally, I didn't even look through the windscreen. I just looked in the mirror, thinking one word: shit. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I went through red lights, crashed it in a whole muddle. Bear in mind, I had a licence, but that panic, I've never felt panic like it. And so from that, I ended up going to prison.
Right, hang on. Let me just go back. So you were on crack when you had to go in the car.
Well, I hadn't had any for a few days at that point because I was trying to convince the man that I was, whose car it was, that I wasn't.
Okay. So you'd gone through red lights and in ditches and all sorts, so that's why they were stopping you.
No, that would just be I was just driving down the road. It was just.
What did they pull you over for?
Listen, I don't know. I didn't ask.
So I bet you just.
I think it was just like a spot check, like I think he would just wanted to hold you, but I don't think it were anything sinister. At first, it was just one of them things.
But had you had previous driving convictions?
No, I've never. No.
So your first one, and they put you in prison.
Yeah, I haven't been in trouble for 20 years since I was in England. Yeah.
And how long did you get in prison?
Just give me 6 months. It was because the judge, who had me that morning, he had to be doing a campaign, didn't he, about dangerous driving.
Oh.
Yeah. And obviously the severity of it, because I went through the red light, it was near the BRI hospital, so it was really dangerous what I did.
Okay, right.
It was quite bad. And then I crashed, obviously.
Right. Because, I mean, you hear of people doing all sorts of daft stuff, don't you, and getting off with it, and then they get a bit of a fine. So I just wondered, had you, injured somebody or something like that?
No, just myself.
Oh, right.
And it didn't help because when the airbag popped out, I've never crashed a car, and the last time that I were in a crash, there were no airbags in the car. So right. Big smacked hit face, and I think that shocked me even more. And so I did go out and run until my adrenaline stopped, and then I was like, "Oh, what have you done?"
Right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right. So how old were you then, Cheryl?
It wasn't long ago. Well, it was 2018, so 36.
Right. So we've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
We've grown up in a regimented house where things had to be you know, the way or no way. We've got a mum that's a functioning alcoholic. We have lost just about everybody we've cared for.
Yeah.
We've turned to drugs. We've got these 2 kids. We've been arrested and we've been put in prison. Where on earth do you go from there? Where do you go? Like, shit.
Well, my children, one of them were 14 and the other one, well, an adult and independent. He was living on her own. So my son went to go and live with his sister.
Yeah.
And then, well, minus all the turmoil that I felt with regards to letting my children down, because they had a perfect mum up until that point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, I didn't do anything for me. I was just at home with my kids, and when I went with my kids, I was with my family. I didn't go out drinking. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. So, apart from that, which ripped me apart, and it's still quite difficult to talk about now, because as much as I wouldn't want to change it, that's the only bit that I would really want to change. But that was day one of my journey. And when I was laid in that cell, amongst the madness, I realised that I only had me to think of. In that position, I couldn't do anything about anybody else. And it was a massive shock to the system. And I just laid there for 2 days, because the thing that I found difficult was putting myself first and having to think about me. And it felt so foreign. Like I didn't know what to do for the best. You know, like even I think because there were no children there, but when you're put in that situation, you have to do what's right for you. Otherwise you're gonna be in trouble in there. You know, and the women in there, they're very broken.
Yeah.
They're very, very broken, each man for himself. And I were like the weak link, because I wasn't the usual type of person. So much so that even prison officers said to me, "What are you doing in here?"
Really?
You know, like I didn't fit in there. It wasn't, and I'm not saying there was anything better about me. I'm just saying it wasn't. It was a shock. And then as soon as they see somebody who's weak like that, they tend to try and push your buttons.
Yeah.
You know, try to get you into things that you don't want to get into. And they're very, it were very different. I mean, the first question they asked me is, "Are you bi-curious?"
Really?
The first question that they asked me, and I can't tell you how intimidated I felt, but I knew at that point I need to stand your ground. You need to stand your ground, and that's where I found Cheryl. You know what I mean? I was like, no, I'm certainly not. You know, I had to make it quite clear that wasn't going to be an option.
That's the thing. I suppose if you come across a bit vulnerable or a bit timid or all like that, you're easily swayed, aren't you? And if you've a few women that have been in there before, they might know ropes, they might have been in prison a few times.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big thing, isn't it? It's like going into preschool all of a sudden again, isn't it? You know?
It was massive. But the 2 aspects, I only spent 2 weeks in that prison. And it was quite bad. It was honestly, it was bad. And I didn't know how I was gonna get through. But even the staff were bad. So yeah, so I got, I think it was 2 3-minute phone calls to the kids, and then after that you're supposed to put a list of names and addresses for a contact list so they can go through security first before you can you can ring anyone. You've got to get clearance. So I did that. And 13 days later, still nothing. I still couldn't speak to my kids. So I think I got tested in every which way, shape or form, because that's the only thing that I needed.
Yeah.
Anything else that happened to me, I wasn't bothered. Just I needed to speak to my kids, because obviously look what I've just put them through. I just needed to hear their voice and to see if they were okay. But for whatever reason, I couldn't. And I'm not going to lie, I did lose it that day when on the 14th day, I just went to bed then. And they did do it, but it shouldn't have to come to that. And nobody showed me the ropes, not the staff. And even a staff member had to ask another prisoner how to do it. And I was just like, I couldn't believe where I was, what I was doing.
Yeah.
But it were really daunting. Anyway, after a bit, I befriended this woman, and she was a self-harmer,
Right.
and really, really bad. And even though I'd fallen back into old habits of looking after and caring
Yeah.
for that lady, the staff noticed that she hadn't she hadn't cut herself up or done anything daft in the time that I'd been spending with her.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they opened my cell door and they said, "Right, you're going to Askham Grange, pack your bags." And I was like, "What?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I didn't even know what Askham Grange was, Stacey.
No, I don't know what it is.
It were an open jail.
All right.
It were an open jail. Now, I made the mistake of asking some of the other girls, "What is Askham Grange?" Because it sounds horrific, doesn't it, in the name?
It does, doesn't it?
No.
How's that smack the cell block H, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I didn't know where it was, and I was like, okay. And anyway, they all got really jealous because a few of them had been trying to get there for some time, and I didn't know. So
Oh, Cheryl.
that's why. I know. I think that's why they just opened the door and told me, and yeah.
All pre-planned, yeah.
Yeah, so I just stayed away for the next 12 hours because I was just like, I don't know what I've done wrong here, I don't know. But they all been trying to get there. Apparently it's like a goal for them to go. Yeah, it's like really good for rehabilitation and stuff like that.
All right, okay.
Anyway, so we've gone there, I've gone there. Stacey, I don't know how I ended up there. It was beautiful.
Was it?
Literally, honestly, there was a little duck pond in the fair, and it looked like it was lovely. The staff were really accommodating, and when I asked like, "Why have you sent me here?" and they were saying, "Look, you just fit the criteria."
So is that more of a rehab centre then, rather
It's
than
more for the good prisoners,
right?
Who yeah, you've got to like show that you're good, but I've never
Yeah.
I don't know this. I didn't know the system, I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
But when I got there, I spoke to a lovely lady. I got quite a lot of counselling.
Did you?
Yeah, bereavement counselling, and they made me do a timeline from the day all the way back.
Yeah.
And they assessed me like that. They assessed everything. But I think actually speaking about it really, really helped. But that was more like, I think I needed to get that out of the way before I come out.
Yeah.
And because then once I'd got to open prison, they told me that I wouldn't be doing that long. I did get 6 months, but it gets cut in half.
Yeah.
And then I was eligible for tag, so that gets cut in half again. So I only did like 6 weeks.
Right, okay.
Nearly 7 weeks. But that were it. So they just give me all the help that they could. Prior to that, I did tell them about my drug problem, and I did tell them, and they explained a little bit about how that works, like with crack, and I was like, why can't they help? And they were basically saying that heroin, they can prescribe you drugs for. So if you're on heroin, they'll give you the drugs, and then they'll knock you down slowly. And that's more of a physical addiction. Whereas crack cocaine's not. It's more like a psychological drug. So what it does is, the feel-good chemical that your body gives off naturally. Well, that gives a massive blast.
Right.
When you have it. So usually your body will reward eating, sleeping, sex, etc.
Yeah.
But when you use that, it gives you a massive one. So you stop eating, sleeping,
right,
food and stuff like that, And so that's why it's so difficult to come off that drug. because it's the natural thing that's found within your body. And really, yeah, your head has to be in a good place.
That's it. So if you've got any sort of mental illness, then you're going to crave that, aren't you? Because it's I just want to feel okay. I just want to feel like I'm happy.
And I think at first, when I first started using it, I didn't start using it because, well, I did. I started off going, I tried to go out drinking with my friends.
Yeah.
After 10 years, I couldn't drink. I hadn't had a drink for years. I couldn't do it. I got run over by a taxi. Brought me like an half. And
Run over by a taxi. Did you get hurt or like just not?
well, I didn't up and carried on, and I didn't go to hospital till Monday morning.
Cheryl.
I know. But yeah, that's what happens when I get drunk. So, but so I remember someone saying, "Oh, you should just have a line of coke when that happens," and that wouldn't happen. And I was like, "All right, okay then." So I went out next week with my pot on and a size 6 boot and a size 4 boot. I did, and I did. When I started to feel sick or wobbly or vulnerable, I just had a little bit of cocaine, and that were end of it really. But then, when I went out at weekend, that's when I was struggling because I'd lost everybody. I was depressed, really depressed. I would try to be there for my kids, and my daughter had just had a baby,
Right.
and it was just too much. And anyway, I was doing my washing, and you're going out, clothes go to a apartment pile, don't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, because I only used it when I felt wobbly or sick or vulnerable, I still had some in my pocket, and I found it. I found it in the bottom of my wash basket when I was doing the pockets to do the washing.
Yeah.
And I had some. And that day, I cleaned the full house, I did the uniform, did everything, I made all the phone calls I needed to feel, and I didn't feel like a lead weight. And that's how I started to use that. And then I got an infection in my nose. I know it was from cocaine, but the doctors didn't. And they said it sinusitis, and they said it would have gone to my brain if I hadn't come that day.
Right.
And so the next time I went out, I didn't have no coke. Well, I did have it in my pocket, but I didn't actually take it. But I knew that you make crack out of cocaine. So I this is how long ago it was. We're on YouTube. It showed you how to do it.
Is it? Ned?
Yeah, I swear to God. So, and that's how I started. That's how I started. And that's how it changed very quickly from being a coping mechanism to a habit.
So a habit. Quick, innit? That's very quick, innit?
Yeah, it was massive. It was massive.
But like you said, then where do you go? Who do you ask for help if they're saying to you, well, we can't really help you because you don't have out to come down? Who do you speak to? Where is there for people to go, do you know what? I've got this bit of an habit and he's moving very quickly. I need some help. What do you do?
Well, when I came out, because of the prison that I'd been in, they did offer me quite a lot of help.
Yeah.
Now, I said that I didn't mind doing the one-to-one, and I'd speak to them, and I didn't mind doing the drug testing either.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what they wanted me to do next, I refused. Because around my area, drugs is very common.
Yeah.
And so the place where they want you to go is they want you to go and they want you to sit in a meeting and say, basically, I'm Cheryl, I'm an addict, which is fine. I would have done that. But the people within that group, I also knew from my time taking drugs. And I also knew that they were more about blagging it, leaving that meeting and going to score drugs.
Right, okay.
So that was my reasoning for not wanting to go there. Because I knew if I were having a bad day, it would be so easy.
Just to tag along and just go do it again.
Yeah, and I did have a few more wobbles, I did. I'm out of prison, I'm not going to lie. But then after I'd stopped a while, I just spent a lot of time on my own because I didn't know where to go because all my friends, I'd lost them due to my drug use. Not through any fault of theirs, it was just me. And then I felt embarrassed to go back to them. And I didn't want to drink either, so we were really lost as to where to go. And then I remember being laid on couch. And you know when you're in that state where you're not quite asleep, but you're not awake?
Yeah.
And I woke up fuming because I just kept hearing his number over and over and over. And I thought it were a drug dealer's number. It wasn't, Stacey. It was my mum.
Wasn't it?
It was my mum's number, yeah.
Hi, I'm just taking a quick break to thank you all so much for listening to the podcast and for all your lovely support. If this episode gave you something to think about or simply felt helpful, you can support future episodes and my tea habit over at Buy Me a Coffee. The link is buymeacoffee.com/guide to spirituality. Every little bit helps me keep creating, sharing and growing this space, and I'm truly grateful.
It was my mum's number, yeah. It was my mum.
What, like a phone number?
Yeah, she was. I was just saying her number over and over, and I jumped up. I was like, for God's sake, it won't leave. And I was like, oh my God, that's my mum.
Never.
That was my first contact with spirit.
That's it, innit?
It was my mum, and I know she was proud of me because I hadn't used for so long.
Yeah.
I just knew.
That's amazing, that, innit? I love that.
Yeah, but then I've been speaking. There were a lady down the road, and my friend Debbie, and she were really spiritual.
Yeah.
And she started to teach me little things. She had a load of knowledge. She started to teach me loads of things about being spiritual, and what it meant, and I kind of really leaned towards it, like researching into it and stuff like that. And then I wanted to go for a reading because I was frightened that my mum, my nan and my granddad would be really ashamed of.
Yes, what you'd done.
Yeah, and on the earth plane, they'd have killed me.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So that's what I were going on. But, and Debbie said, oh, you should go for a reading, you know. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should. But because of number and my mum, that's why I went.
Why you went?
Yeah. And when I got there, the basic message was, all three of them come through straight away.
Yeah.
And they said, we were the reason why you failed. Now let's be the reason you rise. So I'm like, right, no pressure then. And she said to me that I could do what she could do. And I was like, what? And yeah, so she basically said she gave me a couple of options of online places where I could look. She said, and when you look on there, you'll find something for you. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went back to this lady and I did a 6-week mediumship sessions, and I found I was quite good at it.
Yeah.
Although I didn't believe it at that point. But I really just did it so that I could speak to them.
Yeah.
Feel them and kind of not have such a big loss.
Yes. That Lloyd's the shorter.
Yeah, and I never expected for it to go very much further than that, to be honest.
Okay.
Do you know, I just wanted it for me because, yeah, I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't even know what, but it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's where my spiritual stuff started. I did start doing readings for other people. I practiced with people from other side of the world.
So have you read for people all over? Tell me where.
Yeah, so I went on this mediumship for beginners, and I purposely wanted people who I didn't know.
Yeah.
Just, you know, because I found it really difficult to do it for people I did know.
Yes.
At first. So I just practiced and just kept going and going and going. And then I started getting quite good feedback every time about, and I noticed that the people that I read for, the things that I'd been through generally would pop up in them readings.
Yeah.
And so I learned, like, how things made me feel, or they'd show me something that happened to me, and I would have to and I know that they did that because I'd recognise it.
Yeah. So you recognise in your life things that are happening in others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it always seems to be, I noticed, it was people who needed some sort of healing,
Yes.
even though I wasn't doing healing at that point.
Yeah.
You needed something from that reading. And it was usually how to help them, some way of helping them in some way. And because of that, then I started to look into Reiki and healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I now know that that were my guides because I needed to recognise my energy. Now I'd work through the physical stuff.
Yeah.
All the physical stuff. I'd had all the counselling, all the 3D counselling. I'd done all that. But I needed to start recognising my own energy.
Mm.
And because the thing is I was helping all these people in my life, but I was doing it from my own energy field, in a sense. So when you, so if I'm not looking after myself,
Yes.
and I'm helping everybody, whether that be physical, mental, or spiritual, your energy levels decrease rapidly.
Yeah.
It were massive. So I started doing Reiki, and it helped me understand quite a lot about energy and everything. But I did notice that after them sessions, I was still very tired.
Drained, were you? Yeah.
Drained. Yeah. And I shouldn't have been that drained.
Oh.
I shouldn't have been that drained. So I did level 1, I did level 2, and then I just started healing myself before I started on other people. And then I did the Moonikai with you.
Yes. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Moonikai training.
Yeah.
And that's when my healing stepped up.
Yes.
Right then, because the ancient healers of the Moonikai, they came through my healing sessions,
Mm.
and I had no clue what they were telling me to do, but they taught me to trust them.
Yeah.
And so the healing was a lot stronger than what I'd ever felt with just the Reiki.
I must admit, yeah, when since mine, it's like, I can't explain it. It's like you just know that they're working through you.
Yeah, well, they were showing me things like,
Yeah.
Reiki is one thing, but they were showing me how to do things very differently.
It's from ancestors, isn't it? I love when the ancestors come in. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
The wisdom that you get through.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
they were showing me methods that I'd never heard of before.
Yeah.
And I have had confirmation now from other shamanic healers that that is the process.
Yeah.
So my guides did lead me right. And they were telling me the right things, even though I felt like a nut job.
Yeah.
I felt like a nut job because I've gone from this chav to
Yeah.
pulling invisible ropes out of people's feet.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, seeing this.
This is it. We were in Nick 6 months ago, and now we're bloody pulling ropes out of folks' feet. You know what I mean? You look at that now and you look back, you must think this has been absolutely crazy. It's been absurd. What on earth has happened here?
It is crazy, but it was my saviour.
That's it. Do you think that, like, I believe this, but do you think that Spirit have pulled everything back from you, so stripped you of everything, even the closest part that you would absolutely need as a mum, as having your kids with you, they've stripped that away from you to say, look, Cheryl, love, you're on a road to ruin here. Let's get you where you should be. Do you feel that was Spirit that did that?
Yeah. And then even, they definitely did, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's what they meant in that reading. Let us be the reason you rise.
Yeah.
That's what they meant. And then I started to get quite a lot of health problems.
Yes.
So I stopped healing on other people.
Yeah.
And I cut back on the mediumship. And again, it was like a full circle. I had to go back to looking after me again.
Go back to basics again.
Yeah, go back, and it's just like a spiral.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to looking after me again. And I did some work with Annie Conboy.
Yes.
She's amazing, isn't she?
I can hear you like.
And she's helped me to. First of all, I did this course. It was called The 4 Pillars of the Angelic Realm. Now, I don't know why I said I'd do it, because angels, Christianity and all that, I think it's something to do with the past life, but I've never been drawn.
No.
I've never been drawn. And Nanny said it's because my wings were clipped.
Yes.
In a past life. But I went on this course and I'm sorry, Annie, but it's just sounded airy-fairy. And I was like, oh yeah, I know what you mean. I'll just do it. So I'll just do it.
If somebody had said to me, do you want to do 4 pillars at angelic, I'd be like, no, thank you. No,
yeah.
I mean, that as much.
So I did it. Stacey, it knocked me off my feet.
Did it?
Yeah. It really did. It were about unconditional love, forgiveness, grace, all these words that would, you think you know what they mean. No, you don't.
No idea.
No, you don't. And when it comes to showing yourself unconditional love, I found it physically painful.
Did you, yeah?
Yeah, I did. And then the forgiveness were a massive thing for me as well, because not only, like I mentioned earlier about the kids, when I went to prison and I did all that, I didn't ever think that I'd be able to forgive myself for such a terrible thing.
No.
But now, I forgive myself for being who I needed to be in survival mode, and that was massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't. Self-talk still needs some work.
Yeah.
But again, I'm happy to be me.
Yeah.
I am
genuinely.
I am really happy to be me now, and I never thought that day had come. Like, I never, ever, ever thought that day had come. I understand, because of the forgiveness and the unconditional love and showing yourself grace, and there were a couple of other things as well, but they were the main ones for me.
Yeah.
It made me understand the conditions that were placed on me as a child and all through my life. And it also made me realise that when my family passed away, that it wasn't just the grief that got me, it was all my conditions had passed away too.
Yeah.
So I had no clue it was like, and then Annie's worked with me to bring my inner child back, because the trauma from the past, it was like I didn't know how to have fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I don't know, like some people go out and have a laugh and I just feel like I'm stood real stiff. Like, and around normal people, I felt like I didn't fit in with them. Like, I just felt, I don't know what the word is. I felt pushed aside. And she made me understand all of that, every single bit. And it all stems from within.
Yeah.
And the trauma that you've been through and bringing that child back. And so in some situations now, I do feel like a child, because I've never experienced it as me.
Never had it. I never like that.
No, never. And then I remember going, last year I went to Bingley, and there were a Christmas band on, and it was beautiful. They were all singing, and there were a choir, and I cried my eyes out.
Did you?
Yeah, because I've never enjoyed anything like that.
Oh, shut up.
I've never enjoyed anything like that and felt like I did that day. I've never liked Christmas.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think last year was the first time where I actually allowed myself to feel the joy of Christmas.
The joy of it, yeah.
Which is very foreign to me. But yeah. And then I started doing, I thought I'd get back into doing readings and stuff again. And then that's when I came to you for help, because I don't know what's coming through. I have no clue what this is. And then it turns out my guides are working with me again and working on something totally different now, where they showed me a little story and I felt like a little storyteller. I didn't have a clue what they were telling me. And it turned out it's about a person's past life. Then they're showing me how something from their past life has come through into this life,
Yeah.
how to fix it.
Mm.
And I've done another 2 now, and it's been the same. So I've no idea what they've got in store for me.
Well, you're happy just to let them work, aren't you? Just show me what you need me to do and I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, and I've built up a massive trust.
Yeah.
And that
It has to
been
be around trust, doesn't it? It has to be around trust.
Yeah, it really, really does. Trust is such a massive thing. And when you self-doubt as well, if you don't trust yourself, it's hard to trust your guides.
And the thing is that if you've then got issues from being a young kid, you've got inner child issues, or you've got trauma that's unhealed, how are you ever going to trust yourself? How are you ever going to feel good enough to say, well, actually, I trust that what I'm getting is correct? A lot of people have the imposter syndrome, don't they, where they go, well, I want to, who am I thinking that I could do this? And who am I thinking that I'd speak to spirit? Well, actually, that is trust between you and your guide, you and spirit, isn't it? So if you haven't got that there, you're always going to struggle.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, 100%. But they're always there now. Sometimes I can't shut them up.
Yeah. You see, I love it, me. I love that constant conversation. And people say, well, don't you feel drained and stuff? Yeah, I do sometimes. And I become very ungrounded quickly because I'm always chatting, you see. But I love that connection. I love that. I'll just ask a question and they'll give me the answer. It's that sort of thing. I love it.
It's almost,
enjoy it.
Yeah, it's almost like I felt like there was something always missing.
Yes.
In my life.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put my finger on what it was.
I know exactly what you mean.
Now, it's like that's what it was.
That's it. That's the missing piece.
It's you, isn't it? It's a part of you.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's part of you. Yeah, that was a massive thing for me. A massive thing.
So looking at Cheryl today, have you, with the healing that you've done, I know we mentioned the health conditions earlier on, I don't want to know what they are and everything, but have you healed a lot of what was going on with you through healing the trauma?
Yeah, the consultant's so confused. I have symptoms of full-blown lupus, or I did have.
Yeah.
They were awful. I did notice that when the energy levels were up, so were the symptoms. I sounded very much like a hypochondriac. One day I was being sick, other day I had hives, other day I'd have swollen joints. But because you can only speak to a doctor now about one problem,
yeah,
they didn't really. I was getting sent all over the place. But yeah, like Annie says, when you get physical symptoms, it needs to be released. It's come out because it needs to be released. And yeah, I've hardly got any symptoms now. Don't get me wrong, I do have the odd day.
Yeah.
When I'm not good. But then when I went back to the consultant, he's sending me to a specialist in Leeds because
it's like your medical book.
It's like nothing straightforward with you.
They'll have all team of trainees around looking at you, prodding you.
I'm being used as a case study.
Are you?
By dermatology.
Are you?
Yeah, because they're just so confused. My bloods don't match up to the symptoms. So yeah, that's where we're at. But that's what it is. It's all about sitting and it's Annie that we're working with.
Yeah.
Through all that, and she was telling me what each symptom means, what it could be, how to get rid of it, how to work through it. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Absolutely amazing. I mean, God knows what they're going to say to me when I go back next week.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I was looking at going on immune suppressors. That would have been the option.
Yeah.
But I don't need to.
No.
I don't know.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is amazing. So it saved me again.
I do believe we can cure ourselves with, like, there's a lot in the a lot of illness that we can cure with healing. We don't, this must say, I don't mean like we bring a lot of it on ourselves. I don't mean that. But if we've got trapped trauma from when we're younger, we can have physical symptoms from it. People become very, very unwell, don't they?
Yeah, so I put a post on my page a while ago, and there's a Chinese man or a Japanese man. I'm not sure of his name. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
But so what he did is he got loads of glasses of water. In each glass of water, he spoke a word. Some were positive, like love, happiness, and the other ones were negative.
Yeah.
Then he froze the water. And then you could see on the words that were positive, they looked like, snowflakes. They looked beautiful, just like that.
Yeah.
But the negative words were distorted.
What?
And so I'm saying this because our bodies are 70% water.
Yeah.
And so our self-talk has a massive, massive effect on our...
big impact on his life.
Yeah. And certain things like that, I'm just like blown away by it. And I actually think you can make yourself poorly, can't you? Everyone says that.
Yeah.
And everyone accepts that as well, that you can make yourself poorly. But nobody believes that you can heal yourself.
No, that's it. His mum used to said to me, she'd go in doctors, my husband's mum, she'd go in doctors and she'd say, I hate going in doctors, it's full of poorly folk. I'd say, well, I know that's why they're in there. She went, yeah, but they all want to tell you how poorly they are, so they never get out. Us doctors, they never get out because they always want to tell you how poorly they are. They're constantly ill. Do you know, it's that sort of thing. You constantly tell yourself that there's something wrong with you. You make something wrong with you, don't you?
Yeah, you definitely do. And I think healing is just, sometimes it's the simplest thing.
Yeah.
It's the simplest thing, isn't it? Like, even when you get up in the morning and you're saying positive things and you change your self-talk, you're not swearing at yourself for doing something stupid anymore.
Yeah.
No, it changes so much. And I would, if you'd have told me that when I was going through my rough patch, I said you needed sectioning.
Yeah.
But I noticed that's how people are as well. People are willing to accept the negative. Like, you can make yourself poorly, but they're not ready to accept that actually
you can make yourself better.
You can make yourself better too.
Yeah. If you just change your mindset a little bit, or you look at ways that you really can help yourself, you can heal yourself. I'm not saying that you would heal stage 4 cancer and this, that, and the other. I don't mean it like that.
No.
But like, if you've got gut issues, looking at, like, I love herbalism, so looking at natural remedies and looking at things that are positive for you, for your body. I've got a healthy gut and that sort of thing, talking positively, but being nice to yourself. And I don't mean like putting a bit of rose quartz in your bath and some flower petals and thinking it's all fabulous. I mean, really really believing that you are important. You're a good person, that sort of thing. It's that, isn't it?
Yeah, and to love yourself.
That's it.
To love who you are, but loving yourself is such a massive thing.
Yeah.
It's not just saying it. We can all say it, but you've got to believe it. And in this world, in this day and age, not many people do.
No.
It's all about material things and the value of something. But one thing one person said to me is that the one person that we're going to spend the rest of our life with is ourselves.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then why on earth are we loving our partners, our family and our friends more than that one person? And that's you. Why?
It's true, innit, though?
Yeah.
It's true, innit?
Yeah. Yeah, because we're always like wanting to know, like, I don't know, say your partner comes home and they're not in a good place. You're like, what's wrong? And you'll sit there for hours trying to work out what on earth's wrong with them.
Yeah.
What about you? We don't ever do that about ourselves.
No doubt.
And I've just had to retrain myself to think about me.
Yeah.
And it's been really hard, but I'm glad I did it.
So what's next for you? What you doing next? What your plans? Have you got any?
Right, well, now I've worked on me, I've realised I'm petrified of being seen.
Okay.
So it's a massive thing to me to be seen, and it's a massive thing to me to do this video, this podcast. So recently I've I'm good at mediumship.
Yes.
And I want to be able to one day, Stacey Bauer, join you on stage without feeling like I'm going to faint or my heart jumping up into my chest. So I've just joined a community singing group,
Yes.
which is so daunting. So
I remember doing mediumship with you though, and you singing to a woman in audience because I think it were a nan or what have you, put a song in your head.
yeah, no, and I couldn't remember who sung it.
So you actually, I was like, oh, Cheryl can sing. I once did it, and I sounded like all being strangled.
Well, I love music. I think
Yeah.
that's another thing as well. But I'm doing it as well because it raises your vibration.
Yes.
Yeah, anything like that. But yeah, music, I love it, but it's not my forte.
So we'll have a choir
mediumship.
session. I'll have a big concert.
Oh yeah, go on then. Sack it. Let's do it.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, I think as well, spirit do communicate with music.
Yes, very much so.
They do communicate with music.
Yeah.
And the group that I'm working with now, the lady who set up the group, she committed suicide.
Never.
And you know what? She was the most
Is that recently?
Yeah. Yes, that'd be rare.
Oh, God.
So there's a much bigger mission now with this singing group. It's about raising awareness because sometimes depression don't look how you think it does.
No, it doesn't. It really don't.
And all the women in that group, they're all grieved. I didn't know for too long myself. It was like 6 months.
Oh.
But she was amazing. You wouldn't have thought for 1 minute that there was something wrong or anything like that. But yeah, so we're all working together now, and there's a much bigger thing. We've just been awarded some money for to do a play, if you like, a play, but with singing in it as well.
Are you going to do this trial, Cheryl?
She loved it. That's what she loved.
I see. But she's more.
Yeah, so we're going to do that, and we're going to do it about Lisa's journey.
Yeah, oh, that'd be nice.
And then, yeah, obviously raising awareness for mental health. So that's where I'm at now, but I don't know, spiritually, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just going where my guides lead.
Just going with the flow.
I'm just going with the flow, yeah. Because I dare say that spiral will come round again and I'll have another lesson to learn soon.
Yeah. That's the thing with lessons, isn't it? That's never enough.
Yeah, well, I'll just do it now.
So are you still offering readings and healing?
Yeah.
So if anybody wanted to get in touch with you and go, do you know what? I really fancy a reading with Cheryl or a healing with Cheryl, how would they get in touch with
you? Just on Facebook, Mediumship and Healing with Cheryl.
Is it just Cheryl or is it Cheryl Siree?
No, just Cheryl.
Just Cheryl, fine. Okay. And how long, Cheryl, just tell me quickly, how long have you been sober for now?
Since 2019.
6 years.
Yeah.
Bloody well done, lady.
Yeah.
I hope, well, I say I hope, when you look now, you must be incredibly proud of yourself. You must think, do you know what? From the absolute pits of shite, I've actually now, look what I'm doing. I'm in a bloody choir, for God's sake. I'm working with spirit. Do you know what I mean? You must now think, you know, what a journey that's been so far.
I am really, really proud, but
Good.
I can't thank that all the people that were broken that I sat with. I don't think any less of them people, and that's one thing I'll never forget where I came from.
No.
Do you know, and if anyone needs any help or anything, then, you know, you can do it. I'm living proof you can do it. You don't even need help. Like that help that they give you. You know, you can do it. You just got to find yourself. Because the one thing why people use is because they're in pain.
That's it. It's the hurt, isn't it? It's that.
Yeah, and you just need to heal. That's what it is.
Oh, it's been amazing talking to you today, Cheryl. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was really nervous.
Don't be nervous. Honestly, when I talk to you, sometimes I'm like, she's done that. God, she's done that. Oh gosh, she's done that. She's done other. And then you're like, yeah. And then I'm, I'm in choir now, and I'm helping at that healing centre, and I'm doing this. I'm like, oh, right. It's madness, but great madness. I love it.
It is. I love life now. Just got to take it one slice at a time, haven't you?
That's it, yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Cheryl.
You're more than welcome, Stacey. Thank you for having
I'll
us.
speak to you again.
Thank you so much for listening to me, Stacey Bauer, on Guide to Spirituality podcast. If you enjoyed this chat, feel free to follow, share, or leave a review. It really helps. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and keep showing up for you. See you next time.